Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while. I think the last video I made was maybe a week before Thanksgiving, maybe even earlier than that. I don't exactly remember. It's been a while. But I hope everyone has had a wonderful Thanksgiving. And if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope you had a wonderful day off. My Thanksgiving was okay. My brother came over and I made the meal and he ate the meal and he didn't even help me like do the dishes. Like, what's up with that? I'm kidding. He did ask if I needed help and I said no. He isn't rude like that. But Thanksgiving was actually the least exciting thing that happened. So let's go back to the end of October. Yes. So I don't know if I mentioned this on any of my other videos, maybe the last one, I'm not sure. But I did end up finally getting hired on permanently to my full-time job. So, yay. That's good news for me. That way I don't have to worry about as much. I don't have to worry as much about getting laid off again. So that is, some weight off my shoulders. But then I was having issues after finally like going through all this malarkey to get hired on, back and forth with the HR office trying to get some information. I wasn't even asking like, hey, am I hired on yet? I was just like, what is going on? Like, why is it taking so long? But I was just trying to get some information. Anyway, after I get hired on, they say, okay, and I have my orientation. They say, okay, well, you have to have your, like, health care orientation. Like, those go over the different options you have for your health care. And, like, insurance for, like, health insurance, dental, vision, and all that. Also, like, I think it was, like, about the 401k too, I'm not sure. I didn't go because I missed it, but that was something else entirely. So, it just so happened that after I got hired on full time, my supervisor ended up having to leave for personal reasons for a few weeks, and so he wasn't there. And when that happened, that's when I was supposed to go to this orientation for this healthcare thingamabob. So I ended up waiting and waiting and waiting to hear back, because they told me they were going to email the supervisors when they set a date for the orientation. Okay, cool. So I waited and waited and waited, and I didn't hear anything. And this was a few days later, after I was told about it. I went up, I'm like, hey, I think it was the following week. I'm like, hey, I haven't heard anything about the orientation yet. Like, what's going on? And they're like, oh, well, the person in charge, he hasn't set a date yet, so he hasn't sent out the emails yet. But as soon as he figures that out, he will, send the emails out. And I'm like, okay, cool. And so I waited some more, and before I left, I had told them, like, hey, just so you know, my supervisor, and I said his name, he isn't here, he left because of, personal reasons. And they're like, oh, okay, well, like, all the supervisors are going to be given this email, so someone should be able to tell you when the email goes out. I'm like, okay, cool. And so my lead, who had just became a supervisor, should have gotten the email. Now this is where it gets kind of confusing, because I don't know when exactly she was hired on as a supervisor. So I don't know like when she would have been linked up in the chain email for the whole orientation thing. So anyway, time passes and I don't hear anything, and eventually, I had 30 days from when I got hired on, which was October 23rd, um, to get on and choose my health insurance and stuff like that. And I knew it was getting kind of close. This was, I think, the week before Thanksgiving, I think, or 2 weeks before. I don't exactly remember, but I went to HR and I said, hey, and I actually met up with the guy who was in charge of it. I'm like, hey, just want to know what's going on with the whole, you know, orientation thing. I haven't heard anything, and it's getting kind of close to the cutoff date of like choosing everything. And he asked me for my name, and I told him, and he looked it up, and he said, oh, that email was sent out like on the 4th of November, and this is somewhere in the teens, like, between like 13 and like 20, you know. And um, I'm like, oh, because like it wasn't just me, several other people got hired on who also needed to choose their healthcare options, and they weren't told about it either. And I had explained that to him, like, hey, they didn't know anything about it. And he was like, when he had looked it up, he was like, yeah, and if you and a few others didn't, come for the meeting. And I'm like, yeah, that's because we didn't know about it. Like, our supervisor was gone. Like, no one told us. And he was like, well, you can choose it if you want. And I just, like, I guess I must have given him, like, like, what am I going to do? Look. And he was like, do you want me to help you, with the process? And I said, yes, please. He was like, did you start up a portal account, where you can check your, like your time, your vacation accruals. I guess that's how you say it. But I said no, and he's like, okay, well, we'll do that too. And so we did everything. I got everything taken care of. I had 9 days to go. Now, it wasn't cutting it the closest. It wasn't like a day or two. I had a week. But it was kind of nerve-wracking that this got so far, it got so close, to the cutoff date, because I had to choose my healthcare for the rest of this year, and then for the enrollment, I had to choose the enrollment stuff for the following year. If I missed that deadline, I wouldn't have had any insurance, not only for the rest of this year, but for the whole next year. And, I wear glasses. I haven't got a new prescription. I haven't gotten to the freaking, doctor's office in like 3-4 years. I need new glasses. So, anyway, that irritated me. But at the end of everything, after he helped me, he was like, and you said there are other people that, missed out on the email. And I'm like, yeah. He was like, can you, like, tell them if they need help, come to me and I will help them, like he helped me. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I can do that. So that was over lunch period. I had to, lunch period, like it's freaking school. That was over my lunch break. And so I wasted like 30 minutes of my time, on my own time, doing all this bullcrap. So as soon as I clocked back in, I went back and I told the two people that I knew for sure had gotten hired on, like, hey, he will help you, you just need to go to him. And I was like, but do not go at the end of the day, because half the time the door is closed to the HR office, so you can't get in there. They're gone, even though I'm pretty sure the website says they're supposed to be open to like 4 or 5. But anyway, so that came and went, and it got closer and closer to freaking Thanksgiving, and I didn't know what I was doing. I know I wanted to make a meal, but I didn't know what my brother was doing, because I know he normally works. So, and he missed out on Thanksgiving last year because he worked, because I went to my aunt's house and he couldn't make it. So I'm like, well, I'll make the meal this year so that he won't miss out on it. That way he'll have a Thanksgiving meal. And so I got all the stuff, together. I've never made the Thanksgiving meal completely by myself before. I always was just the helper, I was, the prepper. I've never made a turkey by myself before. And my mom had always gotten a pretty big turkey. I knew it was just going to be me and my brother, most likely, and me by myself, at the least amount of people would just be me. So, I didn't need a huge turkey, so I just got, a 3-pound turkey breast. And I found a recipe. It was, a garlic and butter herb recipe, and I made it. Turned out pretty good. It was very moist, which I thought was very surprising considering, like I said, it was my first time. I did burn the stuffing a little bit though. So, I was using my oven for both, and the stuffing was too near the bottom element, and the bottom got kind of burnt. And I also used a dark dish pan, like a roasting pan, for baking it. That was probably the wrong choice. I probably should have used a clear one or the metal one. But anyway, I did end up making the meal. But before that even happened, the weekend before Thanksgiving, I was giving both my cats and my dog a bath, and I gave the baby Bastet. I think I did her first. I might have done Kisses first. I might have done Kisses first, the Bastet, and then Dante was last. And as I was rinsing off Dante near the end, I noticed that I had the hot water on, obviously, because you don't want them. Oh, sorry, Dante. I didn't want them being super cold. I had the hot water on, but near the end, I noticed that the water was kind of cold, and I'm just like, what the heck is up with that? So I ended up, finishing and then turning the water off, and then I went to the kitchen and tried to turn the hot water on. No hot water. I'm like, son of a biscuit. So what I assumed had happened was maybe the breaker had popped. And so I went downstairs and I checked the breaker, both of them, and none of them were popped that I could see. But I turned everything off and turned everything back on, and I waited half an hour. Go back upstairs. Or, I don't wait half an hour downstairs. I came back upstairs after I tried all the breakers. So I waited, and I knew it wasn't going to be super hot, but it should have been a little warm. So I turned the faucet on, and in the kitchen, and nothing. Great. So maybe it just wasn't long enough. So I went to work that evening on Saturday, and worked 4 hours, or 3.5, and I came back, went into the kitchen after I took care of the animals, and I turned the faucet on. Still no hot water. Son of a biscuit. So I go downstairs again the next day, and after I tried the water again, of course, still didn't work. Ain't that right, baby? Yeah, ain't that right, Kisses? Oh, Kisses. Oh, yes. Hey. Come here. Kisses, you're pushing me away. No, Kisses. Ow, 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 my hair. Oh, Kisses, yes. Can I help you? Can I help you, baby? How can I help you? Leave Dante alone. Come on, get up. Get up. I'm making a video. Thank you. You are the cutest. Get. You should wait. Move. Move. Move your bum. Okay. So, I ended up going back downstairs, doing the breakers again, waiting a while, still nothing. And then I'm like, dang, there's something wrong with the water heater. Wishful thinking, I know. I was like, oh, maybe if I try the breakers 5 times, maybe something will happen. No, that's not what happened. So there was a sticker on the water heater that was down there, and I noticed the date on it. It was November 8th of 2011. They put the date on there. And the sticker was like a company in the town that I live in. And I'm like, well, that sucks. So I tried calling them. It's a Sunday, of course they're not open. And they said that their working hours was like Monday through Friday from something to something. And I'm like, well, that's not good. So I ended up, well, what did I do? Oh yeah, I started researching stuff, on the internet, like what could be wrong with the water heater and stuff like that. How long do water heaters last? Between 8 and 12 years. That's how long they normally last. And it was 9 years that I've had that, 8-9 years that I had that. Kisses, what are you doing? Hey, stop it. I know you're cute. That water heater, or we had that hot water heater. So Monday comes around, I call them again after work, and I'm like, hey, help. And they're like, well, we could do it like tomorrow. And I'm like, no, I can't do that. I have to, like, I guess I could call off, but that'd be like kind of, I just got hired on. Like, I don't want to do that. So I was like, well, how about, Thursday? And they're like, well, we can't do that. And I'm like, why? And they're like, well, Thanksgiving. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's a thing. Like, I completely, like, went over my head that it was freaking, Thanksgiving. Like, not that I haven't been planning, the dinner for, like, at least 2 weeks. So, I'm like, okay, well, guess I'm not doing that day. And they're like, well, how about Friday? And I'm like, oh no, I can't do that. Like, my job will, like, literally kill me if I call off on Black Friday. They're like, oh yeah. I'm like, yeah. So, I ended up scheduling a appointment for them to come over and look at it on, oh, what was it? It was on Wednesday, yes, the 2nd of December. And they came over, they looked at it, and of course I needed a new one. I downgraded from an 80-gallon to a 50-gallon. Oh, a little over $1,000. That's how much it cost me to get a new water heater. That's back there. Sorry about the camera quality, by the way. I'm using my webcam. I didn't feel like bothering with the big one, the nice one. So, anyway. What else happened? Oh yeah, so I have hot water now. So, yay! I posted on my Facebook, like, hot water is glorious. Then I was like telling everybody, and they're like, yeah, I have to get a new hot water heater, or probably. They were thinking it was cheaper than it actually was. I was thinking it was going to cost me like several thousand, like a couple thousand, which if I had gotten the 80-gallon one, it would have cost me like nearly that much. But they're like, no, it's only about like, like $600 and stuff like that. And to be fair, the water heater itself did cost around like $600, or it was like $540 or something like that. But with all the other parts, it ended up being like over $1,000 plus the labor involved. That's gross, Kisses. Why are you so cute? Stop it. So, I know, baby. I'm not giving you nearly enough attention. Like, oh. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. I'm trying to do something, babe. Why are you being so nosy today? Huh? Oh, stop it, phone. Stop it. Stop it. Mwah! Okay, look at that. Good girl. So yeah, that's what's been happening with me lately. You know, bathing the animals, losing hot water, Thanksgiving. This video has been going on pretty long, so I have other drama going on from my place of employment that I'll have to tell you guys about in another video. I'm trying to... You're so cute. I will try to do another video pretty soon. Maybe sooner than you think. Not that anyone really watches these videos, but like, hey, whatever. Like, if I want to talk to a camera, I'll talk to a camera. But I will see you guys in the next one, and I hope you have a good day. I hope you have a good week if I don't see you sooner than that. I hope you're doing okay. I hope your Thanksgiving was wonderful. I know this year has been kind of sucky, and you can't really, like, you know, celebrate as you normally would, but I hope everyone's staying safe, enunciate. But could you stop? Like, I'm making a video, Dante. You can bathe yourself later. Stop it. I love you. But I will see you guys in the next video.